Welcome back to part 3 of Website Critiques with Bryan and Chris.
I'm Bryan.
And I'm still Chris in the third episode.
Still.
So
Haven't
this
changed.
is the third part of it. We've been looking at Natalie Zepp's photography website, and let's take a look at the About page. We haven't hit it yet, so let's see what she's done.
Oh, look, here we are.
Here we are.
All right.
All right. You want me to start scrolling?
Let's do it, yeah. So, it's a lot of text.
This is a lot of text.
Yeah, it's a lot of text.
I just committed, I think, to reading a novel,
Yeah.
right?
And honestly, like, and again, this is like my massive preference over long form content. I don't mind having a lot of text, but it needs to be stylized so it doesn't feel like a lot of text.
Yeah.
Right? I think she started, like, she's got some parts bolded, she's got it broken up with images with those damn Pinterest buttons. But you know what I mean? Like, it's starting to get stylized, but it's just not quite finished. It's still a bunch of chunks of text.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think on the web we have to remember, like, if you go back to your high school days and you're writing essays for your teacher, you know, they want, what is it, 6 to 8 paragraphs or
Right.
something like that, or 6 to 8 sentences. Sorry. In a paragraph, where that does not work in marketing. That's totally not the rule in marketing, right? I mean, you're looking at maximum 3 to 4 sentences per paragraph, and then splitting out individual sentences once in a while when you want to get a point across. So yeah, it's about designing that content, breaking it up. I like how she's doing bolding. It might be a little bit too much because I don't necessarily know what I should be reading, but I mean, overall, just got great images of her and her family, a lot of style there, and then look at this. What is?
Oh.
It's a video. Oh, that's not her though. That's somebody else, isn't it? I think it's just a video that she's put down.
No, it's for her.
The sweet lives. There's my friends. Oh yeah, it is her. Okay. So this is really cool. I guess we don't have to watch the whole thing, but
No, I'm just sort of
Saturdays
I'm
are
curious.
extra sweet. Huh.
Yeah, super neat. You know, it's so there's so many different ways that you could take this and really just tweak it. Like, you could do what we've talked about on the other pages, where you have a long form page and you break it up with like images, story, and like this sort of, like, you could add icons. Like, you could do things like that. You could have backgrounds. You just split it up. It would make it feel nicer to scroll through. Something else I've seen done really well on websites, and I think we even talked about it in the last episode, was the sort of like scrolling story approach, where it's like image and a bit of a story, and then you kind of get to not scroll, but you can click next to kind of like keep reading.
Yeah.
I kind of like that because it really it forces people to stay consistent with their actions, because like, basically when they click next, they're like committing to like wanting to read more.
Yeah.
As opposed to this, it's kind of very passive. My eyes can glaze over and I can keep skipping through it.
Yeah.
Whereas when people start engaging with it, they're now involved in the process and not a passive reader of the content.
Exactly. That plus you get the added benefit of, like, right now I can easily see how much I'm in for.
Yeah.
So I can make a quick decision on whether or not I even want to read it. Whereas if it was broken up into small, really consumable chunks, then they don't necessarily know what they're getting into. But once they start getting into it, if they've engaged themselves with it and they want to continue, then it doesn't really matter. It could be the same amount of text, and it could take them the same amount of time or more.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. They actually start doing it because they don't know what they're getting into. Right. It's kind of funny. You got to trick your people.
Well, and the interesting thing with that is it's almost like following this sort of like whole this sort of serialized content culture era that we're in right now, where everything is like, like you watch an episode of something on Netflix and they always have this like wicked cliffhanger at the end, and like you want to go and watch the next episode.
Yep.
And it's how the best serial, the best podcast shows have done. It's how the best TV shows have done, where they always leave you hanging, wanting more. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna like have someone like in some dramatic event at the end of each one of your paragraphs and be like, click
She's
next.
held at
to read
gunpoint.
more.
I have no idea what to do next.
Don't know what happened. But like, it's the theory that, like, if you can write your content so that it is engaging and you can make it so that people want to click next, that's kind of the whole point of long form content. Otherwise, what's like, why are you writing all this content if people aren't going to read it?
Yeah. Marketers are storytellers. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of storytellers, there's a button at the top that I'm curious about. It says stories.
Nice transition. Nice transition.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. Cool.
6
So
reasons
it's her
to hire a
blog.
birth photographer. So it's her blog. Okay.
Yeah.
Images are loading in really slow, which is interesting. But there it pops in.
Could
okay, we're
be
good.
could
we're
be
good.
a condition of our Wi-Fi. Could not be. I guess just like a general note is make sure that you're loading in images, roughly sized for how you're. That was my thumb. Like I was like.
I wonder what
like
that
roughly
was.
like what's that word? Like a thumb. Like I don't know. Anyways. don't load images into your site that are way bigger than they're ever going to be used, because then you're basically forcing the web browser to pull in this 2 or 3 meg file that's 5,000 pixels wide and fit it into this little 800 pixel wide space. So just as a rule of thumb, that's what it is. As a rule of thumb.
Rule
that's
of
what it was.
thumb.
Yeah.
That's
Anyways.
it. Okay, so look at this. Let's scroll through it for a second. Okay. Interesting. See some headings every once in a while. This is a long story.
It's long.
It is.
No, it's a
long.
blog post. I don't hate it. I love that she's got CTAs.
Love that she's got a call to action right at the bottom. Yeah. Oh, and she's getting engagement. 4 comments. Very cool. I really love this. Actually, I really, really like this. I have a couple comments, but I think they're basically the same on everything else. Like, it's maybe a little too much content, maybe needs to be broken up a little bit, but I think the idea of having this nice long-form story with these beautiful images along
well
it,
done.
I think, like, if you have people that are engaging with you as a brand, I mean, they're going to just soak this up, I think.
I have to say again, like, she's like, Natalie's, clothes, go away. She's a fantastic photographer. Like, the images are really,
beautiful.
really well
Absolutely.
done. Like, Natalie is doing a fantastic job. I'm willing to bet that she's going to build a client base of people that are really engaged with her brand, get to know her. They're going to come here. They're going to read every word she has on her website. Is my guess, right? You're going to have moms that are like, they're going to call Natalie and be like, I just read every single one of your blog posts. I was crying.
Right.
Because they're pregnant, they're emotional. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
Like, and I think she's really hitting a great demographic with that.
Yep.
So I would encourage her definitely to kind of keep building these stories. Maybe just, I like this, how she's split up now, going vertical like that. Like, I think that's well done. I love that she's built out, all this in the content, and we're having Bluetooth devices disconnect as we scroll.
It's part of the website.
Part of the website.
No, these
Pinterest buttons again.
really
But
cool.
so I do like it. I just maybe go bigger text, maybe stylize it, have some more headers, break up the content a little bit more would be my only thought.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I think the only thing we missed was, okay, so we have home, about, we went through that, stories, we went through that, birth and family, the 2 different sections, great. What is schooled?
What's your guess?
I
I'm guessing
think
education.
I think it's an education. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
try it out.
You never know.
Fine art school portraits.
Oh, it's school portraits. Oh, that's
she
cool.
does school portraits.
Right on.
So
I
why
didn't-
say
I didn't guess
schooled? Why
that,
not just
yeah.
say school?
Right.
Interesting. Welcome to schooled. So it's almost like this sub brand that she's trying to build.
Yeah.
The problem with having these sub brands and stuff when it's part of your kind of Natalie Zepp's is very personal. It's a very personal brand. It's all about her. And having these sub brands, like, in my opinion, is it kind of muddies her brand a little bit, because it kind of starts to be like, okay, what is this new thing I have to learn about, right?
I also have the really interesting thought of a lot of what we've seen so far in her brand is this documentary, very she's an observant in these, and I mean, that's what a documentary photographer does, right? It's like you're there, and a true documentary photographer doesn't even get involved in the scene. They don't move things, they don't touch things, they don't direct things. They just basically document. But this school portrait is very different from that. And I'm not saying it doesn't fit with what she can offer, but offering them in the same space feels a tiny little bit disconnected to me.
I feel like this deserves a separate website and maybe a link in the footer to cross-link between the two or something like that, and then market this almost separately as a separate piece, because otherwise I feel like it just muddies, which then devalues her brand a little bit, in my opinion.
I hear you.
But I mean, it's tough, because I understand if you're a photographer and you're trying to spin up this kind of new business idea that you want to, I want to start doing fine art school portraits, for example. You want to promote that, and you think you'd be nuts to not have it in the top header. But I just think you're kind of sacrificing. You could be sacrificing from other people because they're not understanding what's happening.
Yeah, you're sacrificing
Maybe it's
brand
nitpicky.
consistency and perhaps clarity for like that little bit of like, when you have the Venn diagrams and like the slice in the middle. Like, that would be this,
right.
the audience that intersects.
Right. We have 2 seconds to jump into the contact page.
1, 2. So this is the first time she's used this style of like an image with a block of text over it. Feels a little inconsistent, but I like that she's
It is
broken
inconsistent, but it's broken up.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Cool.
Awesome.
We're through our 10 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Website Critique. Natalie, thank you so much for submitting your website. Remember that if you'd like to have your website critiqued by Chris and I, then please send us a direct message on Instagram, and we will add you to the queue. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode.